Hello everyone, welcome to the Content Bite, my YouTube channel. Guys, once again, we are going to the comment section and answering a very interesting question about South Africa and its provinces. For some reason, some people think that South Africa is this tiny little country. It is actually not small at all. It is a huge country. I'm gonna leave the square meters, whatever the distance or the length or the breadth or the size of the country for you to see. Now, we have 9 provinces, as I have indicated before. We have the Western Cape, we have the Eastern Cape, we have the Northern Cape, we have Northwest, we have Limpopo, we have Gauteng, we have Mpumalanga, and we have KwaZulu-Natal. So that makes 9 provinces in the country. Most of the provinces are landlocked. So the ones that are in the coastal area, they are your Western Cape, your Eastern Cape, your KwaZulu-Natal, and what else that is in the coastal area? Yeah, I think just about those that are in the coast. Everything else is landlocked. Now, let's talk about when you have to travel between Gauteng. This is where Johannesburg is at, and I live in that province of Gauteng, in Johannesburg in particular. However, I originally come from KwaZulu-Natal, or the Zulu Kingdom, where Durban is, which we call eThekwini as Zulu people. And this is our South African Miami. I mean, if you look at Durban, you would be reminded of Miami if you've been to Miami or seen Miami somewhere. But that is Durban, and that is where our king, the Zulu king, is at, even though he lives in Nongoma, which is the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal. Now, to travel from Johannesburg to Durban, by road, it will take you about 6 to 7 hours. You are encouraged that when you drive from Johannesburg to Durban, or anywhere in the country to Durban or any other provinces, is to take your time, because there is this thing, unfortunately, in South Africa about South African drivers being bad drivers. I mean, I've experienced bad drivers in South Africa, so much so that I even gave up driving, because I think, admittedly, I might have suppressed road rage, because I only shout and scream and swear inside, but not at the person that made me drive uncomfortably. But you would be encouraged to at least drive about 2 hours and rest for 30 minutes to an hour, and then drive another 2 hours, rest for 30 minutes and or an hour. And there are what you would call stops along the way. These are your ultra gas stations that are designed for stopping, so you can have refreshments. You can also relieve yourself from whatever pressing that you may have with your body. And it also has police stations, and you would also meet other travelers if you are open to making friends, because South Africa, like I said, we are a vibe. You can never stand in a queue in South Africa, or a line, I don't know what other countries call that, without coming out of that store without making a new friend. That is just who we are in this country. So 6 hours at most to get to Durban by road. However, if you are not into road traveling or taking a road trip, you can take a flight. So South Africa has many domestic flights, from FlySafair to SAA, which is South African Airways, to Sim Air, to Airlink. I think I even just seen recently FastJet. What is there also? Yeah, those are the ones that I can remember that you can actually take to Durban. and the flight would literally take you between 45 minutes to an hour depending on the tailwind, and you would be in Durban. Now, if you asked me which one I enjoy the most, of course I enjoy a road trip from Johannesburg to Durban because of the scenery. And usually those of us that leave to travel to Durban from Johannesburg, we love living at the early hours of the morning for obvious reasons. When I say early hours of the morning, we're talking about 3 a.m., 4 a.m. The latest would be 5 a.m. Why? Because the roads are quiet. Two, you get to be with your thoughts. If you are traveling with young kids, they just sleep in the car as you drive down. And by the time the sun rises, you are already halfway to Durban. And that is when the beauty of KwaZulu-Natal begins to show with rolling hills. I don't know if you've read a book by Alan Paton called Cry the Beloved Country. His opening paragraph in that book, he actually describes how KwaZulu-Natal looks like. I would recommend that you check that book out. Cry the Beloved Country by Alan Paton. It's a literature that many of us learn in high school, especially when you are in senior doing English literature. Other than that, you get to see all that beauty, the winding roads. It's just absolutely gorgeous all the way till you get to Durban. And that's one of the reasons why I love traveling by road to Durban. Not that I have a problem with flying to Durban. The only time I would fly to Durban is when I am in a hurry to go and also hurry to come back. Other than that, I either drive or take a bus to Durban. Now, from Johannesburg to Cape Town, that one will take a little longer by flight. Now, by road, it will take you somewhere between 16 to 17, sometimes even 18 hours on the road. I can never do that, ever. Even if you try to pay me to travel by road to Cape Town, I will not do it. It's too far, tiring, even though the scenery, oh my goodness gracious me, especially when you get around the George area, like your Knysna. Oh wow, breathtaking as you actually going towards Cape Town, because you're going to pass some most beautiful scenes. But for me, I'm sorry, I cannot. So a flight will suffice in my opinion. And again, it will depend on the tailwind, but I would say safely to fly from Johannesburg to Cape Town will take you about 2-hour flight. Just to be safe, 2-hour flight. It could be 2.5 hours. It can also be an hour 45 minutes, again, depending on the weather. So those are the 3 major cities that probably you are going to be visiting when you're coming to South Africa. However, other parts of the country, when you are in Johannesburg, you can travel to them by road, even though you can also take a flight. For example, going to Bloemfontein, which is in the Free State, which is another province, it will take about an hour flight to go there. Or you're going to Limpopo, which is the far north of South Africa, where now you're going to meet the borders of Zimbabwe, the borders of, I think even Botswana. Yeah, that will take you by road. If you're going to Northwest Province by road, it will take you about 2 to 3 hours to get there. If you're going to Mpumalanga, again, it will take you 2 to 3, 4 hours drive. If you're going to the Eastern Cape, that's when you will need a flight too, because it's about 17 to 20-hour drive, depending which part of the Eastern Cape you are going to. If you are going to Gqeberha, which is former Port Elizabeth, it will take you about 20 hours to get there. So no thank you for me. So a flight will suffice, which will take about an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours to get there from Johannesburg. To get to the Northern Cape, once again, it's going to depend because it's also pretty far. It's almost like going to Namibia. So that one will require a flight as well, or you can take a road trip that will be about 15 hours, I think, to Kimberley. In fact, it will be less than 15 hours to Kimberley, maybe 9-10 hours to get there. I stand corrected. So by road, well, going there, you're just going to see deserts. It's quite deserted, or desertification is taking place there. The Karoo, as some people will refer to it. So it's not my favorite to travel and also going there, because it is also known, there's a place called Appleton in the Northern Cape called hot as hell, because you can literally fry an egg on a rock and it will cook. That's how hot it is. And for me, no thank you. I don't know, maybe because I come from Durban and we have the ocean. The moment it's hot, you just jump into the ocean and you are all nice and cool. So those are the ways of traveling inside of South Africa, from Johannesburg to these different provinces. And I recommend that when you are in South Africa, try to visit at least 4 of the 9. There are provinces that are not highlighted when you come to South Africa, and they would satisfy you so much because of the rich culture, as well as the food, the languages, the customs and values that you are going to learn, versus coming to Johannesburg, which will remind you of New York City. Or when you travel to Durban, it's going to remind you of Miami. If you travel to Cape Town, it's going to remind you of San Diego. So most of the things you'll be familiarized with, versus if you go to like Limpopo, going to the Eastern Cape, Gqeberha, or East London, or going to Northwest like Mahikeng and all that stuff. That's when you will see things that are quite different. Life is a bit slower and cheaper as well there. So I hope this answers your question. And if you have more questions, guys, regarding South Africa, please do not hesitate to leave in the comment section, and I'll highly appreciate it. Those of you who are South Africans that are contributing positively in the comment section, may you be abundantly blessed. Thank you so much. I love the respect. I love also when you do a bit of a correction for me, because I would not know everything. I will not know everything. But if you're going to come at me with a different approach, that energy you show, I will show it right back. And I'm a Cancer. Learn about us. Anyways, let me leave the video right here. Please don't leave without liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you next time with a new video about South Africa. Goodbye.